This is Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings, and welcome back to the Soul Citizens. I'm GriffinGamingRPG, and we are back. Today is Sunday, June the 4th, and I'm here with my good friend, Karati. How are you, my friend?
Hey, Griff. Everything's good. Happy to be here. Happy Sunday, everybody.
Good.
Looking forward to tonight.
Listen, the reason why you see Karati dancing over there is to tell everybody where you just came from. Where'd you just come from?
So yeah, I came from an award ceremony that I completely forgot that I had planned today. They reminded me like twice last week, and closer to the time that it was completing, I was like, wait, crap, I have to stream today. So I was rushing home. Well, I couldn't rush home because I was driving my mother. So she was like, take your time, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, but you still didn't tell. You didn't tell them what the
gas and all that. But
wait, you didn't. Are you hearing me in Twitch or Discord?
So I'm hearing you in Twitch because for some reason my Discord
is not
projecting your voice.
Really? Try it one more time.
I'm gonna be right back, guys.
Yeah, test it real quick for me. Yeah, test it real quick for me. Because that's like a 10-second delay. Right. What about now?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing.
I hear you. You're good. Are you hearing me?
All right, I don't hear you. So
really?
Let me rejoin the call.
Okay.
By disconnecting real quick and reconnecting.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
All right, how's that?
I hear you fine.
And I hear you fine.
Okay, good, because that was like a 6-second delay. I'm like, he's not answering me. It's okay.
And when I started speaking, I started to hear myself. So I was like, wait, did I just hear through Discord or through Twitch? And then I realized, oh, right, it was
You're
Twitch.
good. So yeah, you didn't tell everybody though what the awards ceremony was, because I was talking about why you were dancing. So tell everybody what the awards was.
Yeah. So I sing calypso. It's one of the local musical genres in the Caribbean, and we had a competition earlier this year during the period we call Carnival. And yeah, I was part of it. And they were handing out prizes and everything, and we had to sing. Some of us had to sing, so they had different intervals. So I was one of the persons who had to sing and perform. So yeah, that's where I came from.
All right. Well, next time I come down that way, dude, I'm gonna have to come. You're gonna have to like give me the tour, take me to a good place with some music.
I will, man. I'll show you the good stuff.
Yeah, I don't. I've been down there so much now, I don't think about it. But now that I know somebody who's down there, I only have one other friend who lives in the Caribbean, so I'll have to make sure next time when I go, I'll have to touch base with you.
Definitely.
Yep, you guys see 3 boxes because we are maybe one other person from the team is going to be on tonight. Kelosal, he's out taking care of some stuff, and he may drop in on us as well. But for now, it'll be a 2-man show. Me and Karati are going to kind of cover some of the topics of update 3.19. And both he and Kelosal are both people who have, let's say, insider information as to development sometimes, and so
we pay to get it, guys.
And so they will have more insight than I will. I'm still, Karati, doing some things in Star Citizen that I haven't done in this patch. There's a lot of stuff I haven't done. Last night, we'll talk about it when we get there, okay? Because we'll talk about what happened last night, okay? We'll talk about what happened last night. I should have pulled some video because you had video and I had video, but I was just overwhelmed. One of the things that we talked about. Oh, before we even get into that, let me see who's hitting us up. Oh my God!
Ooh,
somebody gave us a sub. Thank you so much for that. I don't have my right screen up.
Thank you.
Who was that? Let's see.
That was General
Larson. Thank you, General Larson. Thank you so much for that. We appreciate that. 13 months. Thank you for hanging with us. 13 months of torture. We appreciate that. What was I going to tell you? Fast card. That's what I said before we get started. That's what I was going to talk about. Thanks. I know there's a little bit of delay there. As you guys know, on the screen today, you see St. Jude Play Live. We are going to be doing a new campaign for St. Jude. We did one 3 years ago, when we did our fundraiser and we did the rebroadcast, the radio rebroadcast of the War of the Worlds. And we raised $1,800 that year. Our goal was 2,000, so we were just short a little bit, but you guys came through and delivered, especially because it was a 1-hour broadcast. And you guys,
just 1 hour.
Yeah, you guys hit the mark.
You killed it.
Yeah, within one hour, we hit $1,800 that we were able to give toward them. And so this year we wanted to get back in with St. Jude. Ender from Starjump Ender from Starjump Station had reached out to me at the beginning of the year, asking about us getting into a campaign. But we had already started a charity campaign for Lysiana Noir's daughter back then, and so I wanted to kind of put a little break in. I didn't want to go from one campaign to the next, so we are picking up this new campaign. It is the St. Jude Challenge, and it is called Play Live. Now, what's so different about this particular one? Well, it's much more ambitious. We did $2,000 that year. This year, we're actually shooting for a higher number of $10,000. Now, we're not trying to raise that in 1 hour, Karati. We are looking to raise that money over several months, culminating with CitizenCon. Okay, so that's the weekend of October 22nd. So what we're looking to do is raise that money. And this is what we've done. We've created some tiers, some goals, some milestones for you guys too, so that you can benefit from this process of us raising this money. So if you look at the very top of the screen, upper left, you will see a bar that is live. We just started this on Thursday. Fast Card kicked us off on Thursday, June the 1st. And then we had another one on yesterday when I was on for Soul Voices. And today we're doing it on Soul Citizens. We're going to be doing it on all of our shows throughout the several weeks and months. So what we want you guys to do is there's a link that pops up. There's a barcode on the screen, bottom left. You can see that link. That barcode is going to be there. You can check it out. But we really want you to consider donating. I'm going to show you a quick video, and then I'm going to come back and talk to you about some of the prizes and stuff that we're going to be doing in relation to this. So check this out. Okay, here we go.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital and YouTube are teaming up to help end childhood cancer.
In September, supporters from across the nation come together during Childhood Cancer Awareness Month to raise money for the kids of St. Jude.
And that's when YouTube gamers will be posting videos and live streaming to raise funds to support the life-saving mission of St. Jude.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because all a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Money raised also supports the research that leads to groundbreaking medical discoveries that St. Jude freely shares around the globe.
I can only imagine as a parent the relief that they feel when someone like St. Jude steps in.
I think it's a really good lesson for us to realize that we need to do more, and we can do more.
It is a huge step in the right direction, a huge step in helping just people and giving back.
It's all for good, and we have a responsibility, a social responsibility to help out.
Find your favorite video or live stream during St. Jude Play Live on YouTube for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month and donate to this amazing cause.
Your support will help St. Jude further its incredible mission.
Finding cures, saving children.
Let's end childhood cancer together.
Now, for some of you, you may not know much about St. Jude. Some of you have seen St. Jude before, so you know what it's all about. It's about helping kids and families. Even though they have Cancer Awareness Month, we are extending this out over a period of time. So we want you to be able to give some consideration to giving to this worthy cause. So we are already, Karati, at $335 already, just since Thursday. Since Thursday, we have already gotten there. And I want to tell you guys what the benefits are to doing this. First off, we're going to be doing a Soul Citizen Soul gift package that we're going to give away when we hit the $500 mark. We're going to incrementally make it better and better, right? So for $500, there's going to be a giveaway that day. We're going to give away a Soul Citizen's water bottle, 4 tumblers, 4 glasses, 4 shot glasses, okay? And we're going to give away a t-shirt and a hat. All that's going to be included in that package. You can,
all that?
Yes, ooh. Yes. They can look just like you, Karati. They'll be dressed up, totally sold out.
Yeah.
Okay? Get it sold out. Yeah. Okay. So they're going to be sold out. All right. I should have saved that for Fast Card,
Yeah,
right? I should have looked at for Fast Card. Yeah. He'll be using that now because that was pretty bad. So that's what we're going to do at the $500 mark. Okay. At the $1,000 mark, we're going to give away a CIG Chairman's Club package. That's going to be the Chairman's Club hat, the executive polo, the messenger bag, the journal, the key ring. You're going to get all that. I was trying to buy those like shot glasses and stuff, that set that they had, but it's hard to catch that sucker. So I can't guarantee that that's going to be available, but we'll see. You never know. Maybe we'll throw it in. We'll see. Okay. That's at the $1,000 mark. At the $2,000 mark, we're going to be giving away one of those really cool UEE Navy field jackets. We gave one away a while back.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to give that away, plus the UEE naval cap at $2,000. At the $3,000 mark, get ready, Karati, because this is going to include all of us. We're going to do a 12-hour live stream.
Oh, I'm excited.
12-hour live stream featuring
chaos.
Yep, gameplay, talking, special guests coming on board with us at the $3,000 mark. At the $5,000 mark, we're going to give away a Banu Merchantman. A Banu Merchantman will be given away at the $5,000 mark. And at the $7,500 mark, Karati,
give it to me. Give it to me.
We're going to give away a Origin 890 jump.
Y'all are hearing these, right?
Okay.
Donate to St. Jude, guys.
Origin 890 jump. And then if we hit 10,000 by CitizenCon, that's Sunday. That's Sunday. CitizenCon weekend. We're going to give away an Endeavor Master Set for that.
Oh.
Okay. So.
That is exciting.
So. We need your support and your help, and so do the kids. So we want you guys to just take some time, take a look at it, donate, if your heart lends yourself to it, because it's a very, very, very faithful thing. It feels like scope creep. Yeah, it is scope creep. We're creeping those dollars up. That's exactly what we are doing. Right. So yeah, that's going to be the deal. All right. So that's what we want to let you guys know. So barcode's there, information's there. I'll probably take another station break about halfway through and talk about it. But for now, we're going to go ahead and jump into the show and start talking about our stuff. So let's
certainly. And thanks, Malchieri.
Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Malchieri, kicking us off. Beautiful. All right. Let's get into it, dude. Because we got a lot of ground to cover. One of the things, Karati, that surprised me was that people kind of thought that how am I trying to say this? They thought that this patch wasn't going to have a lot in it. Does that make sense? 319.
I can see that
making sense. People.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it was mainly because we were trying to just overcome 318, and I think most of the expectations came from maybe it's just going to be improvements.
Yeah.
It was a mixture, perhaps, of being tired. Oh,
I gotta put your camera in there. Yeah, I don't have your camera in there. That was my fault. You know what happened when you took that break? I zoned out, so I should. My apologies. Go ahead. We'll keep talking.
All right. Yeah. So I had to change guys, so I had to take the camera off. Anyway. So yeah, and I think it was a mixture of being tired and pretty much kind of just expecting there to only be improvements. I think mainly people just wanted improvements or stability from 318. So I don't think we were really necessarily expecting new things per se, or a lot of new things for 319.
Yeah.
It was just mainly we're just craving that stability.
Yeah. I mean, we kind of expected a few things, right? Like Lordville. We knew Lordville was coming because they had talked about that a lot earlier.
They did.
New player experience, we knew. And of course, PES was kicking off from 318. So those were the things that we kind of knew. But again, when you start going down the patch notes, you start saying, whoa, there's a lot of stuff they did here. In fact, there are 15 things that we're going to go through today in relation to what really did come out with this patch. So maybe there's some stuff that you didn't pay attention to, or you didn't notice in the patch notes. I feel good. Thank you, Fast Card, for that sub. We appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. Thank you. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start making our way. Yeah, we're going to start making our way down the list here. And since we already mentioned it, let's talk about the first one, the Lordville Cityscape. Major rework of the Lordville Skyline to better fit the scale of the city and its distinctive buildings. The goal is to create the visual identity for high-end, low-end, and generic branding of the city skyline and add navigational signage around the landing zone. What they did, they updated the volumetric atmosphere and clouds to R-Corp and Hurston. Performance polish pass for atmosphere and clouds, which we know. Moved the location of Area 18's ASOP terminals closer to the hangar elevators. And they updated. That was surprising. Yep, and they updated building block shops UI for Kasaba, Dumpers Depot, with specific styles and stuff. There's more when you do the drop downs, you can break down stuff more to get more specific about what you're shopping for, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about Lordville first, and then we'll hit those items down there. What was your feelings about the whole Lordville expansion? What you saw, what you liked, whatever you want to share.
First thing that actually, came to me was how low the clouds were, or rather how much more I had a feeling of being oppressed by those clouds. And I loved it mainly because of the design of what Lordville was intended to be, based on, if you remember the lore or understand the working conditions, Hurston, etc. And at night it's beautiful. Beautiful. So imagine someone coming to Lordville for the very first time, and they're saying, okay, I'm going to make this my home. And then they come in at night and they're loving the lights, man. They're loving the conditions. And then maybe the next day when they log back into the game, it's daytime and they're like, what did I just enter? And that contrast, they did a beautiful job with that contrast. It was just spectacular.
I wish Kelosal was here, right? Because that's his home, right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And he has sucked up everything about Lordville. But there was stuff he shared with me. And as much as I've read the lore, he really has gone deep into it, right?
Yeah, he has.
And I didn't connect some of the things that we see visually to what the lore of Lordville is. Like, we already knew about the Hurstons. We know basically these guys are just, workers, slave drivers. They don't care about the people, right?
Yep.
But with and they said it in this description, where it says the goal is to create a visual identity for the high end, low end, and generic branding of the Skyline. And Kelosal said this to me because you mentioned about how it looks at night, and you see it at night more than day. But when you're near the Hurston building, that's where the wealth of Lordville is. All the buildings there are the wealthy people, not just the Hurston building, but any of those buildings that you see that are illuminated with gold, the gold striping, the lighting.
Oh yeah.
That's basically where the 1%ers live, for lack of a better term, right?
Pretty much.
The wealthy people live there. As you branch out further, which we didn't have before the expansion, because we didn't have these areas. We had that little outlying area. But now there are fingers that spread out similar to like Orison. And what Kelosal said is that the further you go out, that's where the working class people are. And so when you start getting out to the funkier areas where you got those big refinery bins that are fired up and stuff, that's the everyday person's, place of where they reside. So, thinking about that in relation to gameplay later on, what part of town do you need to go to? And if you notice, I'm sure you did you notice like some of those places have other landing zones in them, landing pads?
Yeah, I did. They're definitely making it ready for the whole building interiors and kind of expanding that for the more procedural generation of those locations.
Yes,
I love it.
Yes. So, understanding the lore and understanding why it's laid out the way it is, it's not just, and we say this all the time on the show, right? Usually when CIG puts something in fact, Brian Chambers came to one of our virtual of our citizens and said, if it's in the game, it's going to have some type of meaning or significance. It's not just, there for decoration, right? So to know that Lordville is not just going to be about, the central business district, or, the what's the area called where you go to Metro, whatever it's called, that
Metro station.
Yeah. All that stuff is going to be significant because, we've got those other train stations in Metro Station, but we can't access them. Right.
No,
but now we see the rail system that's in there now. We see how that all leads out to other parts of the city. So like you said, they're setting it up now for us being able to take missions in those areas. I'm hoping Karati. Yeah. I know this is ambitious, but we know we talked about residences, right? I would not mind if we could rent spaces in buildings, rent where those landing pads are and stuff out there.
Yeah.
I could rent my apartment there. And that means I could spawn my ship there versus necessarily going to the spaceport. Maybe the spaceport's great when I want to get into the inner city, but when I want to go to my place, right, or my friends want to come directly to my place, I've got a landing zone right out there outside of my hab, which is kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Or orgs. What about orgs? Org offices.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't think it's too overly ambitious, at least based on what we understand about persistent habs. In addition to not everybody owns a pioneer, not every org has a pioneer, or not every org has, the finances to finance a pioneer to have their own personal bases. So, issuing these locations, maybe to pay a rental fee through an org, so that the org can occupy that location using persistent habs, because who knows, persistent habs can kind of umbrella, persistent rooms, because maybe the whole idea of persistent habs may not just be for habitation modules, So could be a possibility.
When we bought our ships, we got the quote unquote hangar modules, right?
Yeah.
And we still don't know how that's going to work out. I mean, I get it for spaceports and stuff, but I really hope they do allow us. I mean, for me, and I'm a role player. So for people who aren't role players, they may not care about it, but I like having a space that I call mine. You know what I mean? That is actually mine. I mean, it's very cool now when we go to hangar, we all meet up. I say, hey, go to hangar 7 and we all can go there, right? But it would be also so cool when you came to that hangar, you see all of my loot, or you see my, my other things I've collected in the verse. And we know CIG said they're going to do that. But I would love to see it where I pay a monthly, I don't know, maybe I got to pay 10,000 a month, credits.
Right.
And maybe the more I pay, if I want to live into the ritzier part of the city, maybe it's $100,000 a month, whatever, I don't know. But I would love to see them expand it, not just gameplay, but we can actually have spaces in the game where we could reside and live. But
that would be pretty cool. Yeah, because it's another reason why I'm waiting, really looking forward to persistent hangars. It won't be the personal hangars, but at least with that, we'll have some kind of continuity. In terms of how we manage our hangars, maybe with our ships, and what can be existing there until we get those personal hangars later on.
Good point. How did you feel about the new signage and stuff that they put up in the city?
Oh, that was actually a really good improvement. I haven't personally looked at the new signage for Lordville, but I definitely looked at it for Area 18. For the,
yes. Yes.
Especially for the next point that we're going to talk about soon, which is new player experience. And I think that they did a really good job. I think they learned a good bit from Siege of Orison, where they had those maps. Yes. And those cues, all those things, I think they were able to apply it relatively effectively. And of course, you know, it's the first improvement after some time, but I think, you know, they're going to get better and better, you know, as time progresses.
Yeah. It was also good timing because of Invictus, right? It was with the new player experience being introduced, it gave an opportunity there, because I think we kind of take it for granted. If you've been in Star Citizen any length of time, you learning Star Citizen is kind of like, you know, the old thing of throwing your kid in the lake and say, learn how to swim, right?
Yeah.
And so we kind of take it for granted because we, you know, when we, you know, at first we only had one landing zone, so it was easy to absorb that. By the time we got our second landing zone, we kind of had the first landing zone in our head, so now we're learning the second one, right? But for people coming in now, there's 4 landing zones, and trying to absorb all that plus stations and everything else could be overwhelming. At first, I kind of thought, you know, I was kind of being like that old guy, like, get off my lawn. Like, they can learn it. We had to learn it. Why should we make it easy for them?
Yeah, back in our day, we didn't have all.
We didn't have all these signs back in the day. We looked at the ground and saw the shadow of the sun, and we knew which way to go, you know. But, you know, I do like what they did. And it's intuitive. It's easier to find stuff. Even though there were signs back in the day. I mean, there was stuff on the walls telling you where to go. But I think that I think game developers had gotten so lazy to handhold people that people no longer looked at their environment to give them clues as to where to go. They looked for some, you know, obvious something. And I'm glad that they are using physical things in the game to help you figure out where to go, you know, which is
honestly, Griff, you just gave me goosebumps there, because, you know, ever since then, I think that's, you hit the nail on the head there, especially with taking the time to put in the signage. And I remember when I was playing with another friend of mine, I first gave him the package. Currently, he's still waiting until Sarge is more developed. And he couldn't believe that they actually integrated the signage into the game. He was more looking for, you know, something that, you know, was more holographic and such, and or, you know, holographic arrows and everything. So he was, you know, he was quite impressed. And it still is really impressive that they're, you know, blending all of these things into the game to make it as blended in.
Yeah. Speaking of blending, if you hadn't played the game in a while and you came in, there was a performance polish for atmosphere and clouds. And you started out talking about atmosphere with going into Lordville.
Yes.
I think the first time I flew into Lordville, it was night, which sucked royally. Because I came in on one of those nights where there was not only cloud cover, but there was a lot of the heavy density below it.
Oh,
and so I literally flew by intuition and kind of said, okay, I know it's in front of me. Let me just go until I pierce the clouds. And I couldn't see it. There was no visual cues. It was literally so many clouds that even with the lit up city, it wasn't penetrating that upper layer of clouds. When I came through, and as things started to, then you get the mist and water hitting you. Then as you're coming through, you start to see the outline. Now, what freaked me out was I didn't realize they had put all those freaking high rises in there. And so if you're not paying attention and you're thinking about the old Lordville, you will end up hitting an antenna, maybe slamming into a building, whole bunch of other stuff that, you know, if you're not expecting it, can be out there in front of you. By the way, did you notice on some of those high-rise buildings in the nicer part of town, there are arboretums up there to provide fresh air for the residents?
Oh, really?
Look at the rooftops there. You will see full garden rooftops. They're enclosed. They're in glass. They're in glass.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that is so tripped out. They're going to provide fresh oxygen for the people who live in these buildings, you know, but everybody else has got to wear a freaking bag on their head living out at the other places, right? Which is cool.
I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll get some missions, and, you know, we're part of the worker force, and we know how resource management isn't only going to be tied to ships or buildings. For protests, we may be given a mission to just, you know, shut all those things down.
Yes.
Yeah, for the people, man.
Yes. Well, I will tell you, if you guys haven't done it, definitely drop in and take a look, and you will see at the top of many of the high rises that they have put in arboretums for, and I'm assuming that that's the only reason why I would think that's there, because they're out there picking fruit. It's out there so that these people can get fresh air while the rest of us, lower life
buy oxygen.
people, we have to go buy our air. Okay. Anyway, we got Kelosal joining us. How you doing, buddy?
Speaking of buying air.
Oh yes, we spoke him up since we went back to talk about Lordville. He shows up, right? He shows up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quality is on fire.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
We're doing good. Listen, and we were just getting to the point there, Kelosal, in the first part where we were talking about the performance pass with atmosphere and clouds. That's why we were talking about Lordville, how we saw that Karati opened up talking about the density in the city now, and you even talked to me about a lot of the atmospherics with the chimneys and all that other stuff. Why don't you talk about a little bit about that, because you Lordville's your house, so I'll let you talk about it.
Yeah, Lord, hey Jade, how you doing? Hey guys, sorry for my lateness. Kelosal tends to do that with style, but Lordville is I love Lordville because of all the lore that they have in it. So pushing that to the side, the things that they've done, the changes that they've done with Lordville, to me has been amazing. Not only just this, the skyline and moving things out as far as the factory and things like that, but the one thing that people tend to miss a lot of the times is Hurston is supposed to be a polluted place. The air quality is not supposed to be good at all, at least to the point to where people are wearing freaking airbags in their heads, to the point. Mm-hmm. And I think that Chris Roberts, in terms of his technicalities, is starting to implement that. And I think you're seeing that because flying with Griff over the weekend, you saw some points where the cloud was there and it was covering the CBD, which is the Central Business District. It would cover the top part of it. And then there were some times where it wasn't covering the top part at all and there was no cloud in the area. Mm-hmm. But at night, if you travel at night, they put a lot of lighting in. Mm-hmm. And if you look down there just in front of the CBD, you see a lot of, I would say, some people may say mist, but you see, I think what could be a lot of fog, in terms of the quality of air. And when day comes up, you can really see sometimes that it really starts to hit you. I think that Chris Roberts is finally implementing that type of technology where Hurston is not going to be like Microtech. It's not going to be like a Crusader. Hurston is a place where the quality of air is not going to be good. And at times that sign is going to cut on and say, air quality is good, you can take off your masks. Or that sign may come on and say, air quality is bad, put your masks back on again. And I if you look in that, you can see elements of that in the game. That's what I'm assuming, because I can clearly see the difference on Hurston.
Yeah, because the monitors, like you said, not only do you have the atmospheric thing built into your mobiGlas, but they literally have the different boards around the city when you're walking around, telling you what the chemical content is in the air at that time. So you're right. I didn't think about, them actually making it where you actually, I don't mean just not pay attention, but like you said, maybe there are good air days, bad air days, whatever the case may be. I'm curious to see how that, how it really impacts us. Because right now everybody can walk around with their flight suit on and a helmet, but that's the easy thing, right? So what's going to be the thing later on that says maybe you can't do that? Maybe that's not the way you function around there. Maybe the reality of it is, I don't know. We'll have to figure out what they're going to do, because inventory is going to be a big thing, right? At some point, all this stuff we're carrying around with us. I feel good. Charles, DC, thank you. Thank you so much for that follow.
Thank you.
Or the subscription, rather. Thank you for the sub. We're not going to be able to carry all this stuff around with you later on. You know what I mean? We've gotten kind of spoiled with that carrying stuff around stuff. You're going to get weighted down, and you're going to have a maximum of what you can carry. So, I don't know. We'll see.
His divine shadow says the air is fine. You'll get used to it. Yeah. I agree with you. You'll get used to it. Spare your lungs.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, Kelosal talked about Hurston. Harcorp is my home, and I will tell you, even though Orison is beautiful with its oranges and hues and violets, to see a nice blue sky at Harcorp was refreshing.
Have you seen those clouds?
Layers, that's what I mean. Layers of cloud, and they're layered too. It's not just this one layer. Sometimes there are tops and bottoms. When you fly through it, it just looks great, and I love it. So I'm so happy that they finally have brought that cloud tech that they, we started out at Orison. They shifted it over to Hurston. Hurston's looked better too. They've improved Hurston's just as much. Yeah. So, but Hurston's got way more atmosphere. So our corp gets that same hazy days, but it's more of a hazy day because of cloud coverage more than because of bad oxygen. So I like the distinctiveness of each of these places with what they've done with the atmosphere. Move location areas of the ASOP terminals at Area 18. Everybody's pretty happy with that. They're much closer to the elevators now. You can go right there. There's more monitors there as well. So people seem to be pretty happy. That's just a quality of life kind of thing. And then talking about building blocks, the more improved kiosks at Kasaba Dumpers Depot. You can select things easier. You can be more specific about what you want, and that's really cool.
Yeah, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to Kasaba because their background for their UI is white, and you can clearly see the clothing on their kiosk.
Yeah, but you can't read the drop down sometimes. It's so bright. I'm like, oh my god, turn the light down some.
I haven't had that much, problems.
Okay.
I mean, but I mean, there's a clear difference between the kiosk over there at Kasaba versus the ASOP terminals when you see the all black background and the figures are kind of, you got to kind of scroll through the things a little bit for the figures to show up, or you got to press one to see it all pop up at one time. So there's a couple of bug fixes that they got to do. But I would implore CIG to, maybe move away from the black background, or give customers the choice to change between a black or a white background. No different than what you see on Twitch or YouTube when they ask you to change between a night view or a day view.
Well, something you just touched on, Kelosal. Not just that from the black versus white, but now every vendor has its own distinctive kiosk, right? They've got their own logo up there. You can just look at the, instead of just words. But they've created designs for Kasaba. It is a theme, I should say. Maybe that's a better word. Each one has its own theme, which I think is really nice, no matter where you go to Platinum Bay, whatever. So those little touches of quality of life and animations, and because there's animations on there now and the graphics, I'm really digging that a lot. Let's go to new player experience. Kelosal, would you mind reading that one for us? New player experience number 2.
All right. So the new player experience, give me a second to pull it up. New player experience here. Where we at? Yeah, number 2 clip. Okay, new player experience. An initiative for improving the initial first 30 minutes gameplay experience, which will help players understand the context of the world and introduce them to some of Star Citizen's basic features. This update focuses on the experiences in Area 18 and Virginia Point. As players enter the main menu to join the universe, they will be prompted with the option to join as normal or accept the new player experience. Mission chain, which accept new player experience mission chain, which will set their spawn to Area 18 and begin a walkthrough. Being the NPE, we are going to leave the details off to give you all the information on doing this as close to a new player as possible without information. I'm really happy this is in because that squashes some of the people who recently put out posts saying that there's no tutorial. So that, I mean, obviously they didn't play the NPE, and the NPE has been being worked on. I got some ideas and suggestions, but I'll let you go ahead and continue on with that before I go ahead and introduce that.
Yeah, Karati, you got anything about the new player experience?
Yeah, the only concern that I had, which I haven't seen much complaints on, maybe there are, and I just haven't seen them yet, was the early worries about how integrated the new player experience is within the universe. Traditionally, for traditional MMORPGs, you would have these kind of tutorials away from even if the actual environment is a PvP or where you're free to shoot everybody.
Yeah.
But with this, they actually integrated it, especially into the environment, especially where you or new player as a Pisces is going toward Fortressla, and you either have the possibility of being shot at, killed, or even accidentally committing a crime. But I think we'll have to see eventually where they go with it, and if they continue to choose to leave it in. I think it's a good challenge to see how well they could keep it integrated and ingrained within the actual world itself rather than separated. I mean, I've seen suggestions, some very reasonable suggestions where persons would suggest that you take it away and you possibly instance the tutorial. But doing this in the game can possibly give them the ideas for improvements if they really choose to keep it integrated into the environment, into the live environment. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm very curious to see if they're going to go with it, what kind of improvements they're going to make, and if it's because not many players have been too many pests to the new players. I personally haven't, right? Or if there'll be a spike and occasionally they'll see, okay, we may need to change around a few things. So
I'm hoping 30-minute tutorials, a lengthy bit of time, roughly. Because I don't know too many games where I do a tutorial and it takes me 30 minutes to get through it. And I know that's like roughly what it is. I almost wish they would eventually break it down a little bit more to, well, first of all, let's go back. This is not the first tutorial CIG has done for the game. There was another in-game tutorial years and years ago that was more based upon getting you in your ship, getting you up for flight. You basically came into the game. There was a colonel there that you talked to. He got in his Gladius, you got in your Gladius. You were inside of an asteroid landing zone. He would tell you, you'd watch him. He'd take off his ship. He'd strafe forward, strafe to the right. Then he'd strafe up and out, call for clearance and leave. Then you had to do the same thing behind him. Once you got outside the asteroid, you had to follow him. That was back when we had that command. Remember that chase command that you used to have? It was like follow, whatever. And you would fly around and some stuff, match speed or whatever it was, you would lock on. So they had that before, but the game was transitioning. It was going through changes and then of course trying to update things. This is way back when. Kaizen, thank you so much for the sub, buddy. We appreciate you.
So
go ahead.
So I guess if in addition to all that, I mean, some of the things that I spotted, I know sometimes, people, groups or companies wants to go ahead and invent new things, but sometimes there's an old saying that's if it's not broken, don't fix it. And there are other games out there that do very, very well with tutorials. I'm fine with a 30-minute tutorial, but I'm also fine with people having the option not to go through it.
Well, that's what I was getting ready to say. Go ahead, because that's where I was going to go. Go ahead.
Right. I think that's that would be a nice little consensus if because you do see that they do allow you at the beginning,
right, to skip
if you want to skip the tutorial or if you want to go through it. Right. Now, most times you don't see that until you get into the game. Right. And sometimes they'll sit there and say, hey, if you want to go through this, they will give you an option in the game. Right. I think they can go ahead and make that happen, but I also think they should make that happen along with reputation. I think they should start off with that to allow people to start garnering reputation just by learning the basics.
Just from learning that.
That would be a great way to learn reputation. Wherever you are, you're gaining reputation not only just for that, but you're gaining reputation in the system that you're in and you decide to stay in for that. Go ahead, Griff.
No, I was going to say what I was going to suggest with that tutorial part was that when I was talking about the 30 minutes, what I was going to say, I wish they would break it down into like 4 or 5 categories, like leaving your hab, finding a spaceport, taking off. So that you could, if you decide to select a tutorial, you could either ask for and you could go back to it if necessary. Because you would just click on that and just learn that dynamic, or as you said, just go through the thing 1, 2, 3, 4. I just wish that you weren't forced to do all of it if you didn't want to. Maybe I just need a refresher. Maybe I just don't remember how to get out. I could just click on that and that would be it. But that's the only thing I was going to say is an option.
CIG, maybe we have a journal, right? So you have a journal and you got a place where you go ahead and look up your food and things like that. Yeah. So maybe they can put it in journal where you got a series of steps that you can either go through or skip.
That's good.
Right, and click on it. And my suggestion for it to be a little bit more intuitive, instead of just having it pop up like you do for a mission. Use the Moby glass. I think a little screen should pop up. If you got a helmet on, the screen should pop up on that right hand side with the UI saying, hey, let's go ahead and go through it. And she or he that figure should pop up whenever you're finishing one point, or just to remind you, hey, you still haven't done this. Right. It should be more intuitive with with the system that they already have.
Keep it immersive within the game.
It keeps the immersive going. It keeps you in your mobi-glass. You're starting to use your mobi-glass for that for first-time users on that one, and then all of a sudden you got a nice little pretty face, whether it be a male or a female, to go ahead and just look at and guide you through the whole entire thing.
That's
so
good.
like a Roy Dooley or things like that, something a Tessa, or what have you.
That's a good idea. I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Okay. All right. Other than new player experience, let's talk about FPS AI Combat Balance. With 3.19 comes a quality of life overhaul of FPS AI accuracy and behavior. This is intended to make AI feel a bit more realistic, lifelike, and in some ways more forgiving without pinpoint deadly accuracy at all times, which is something that has caused many of us frustration while clearing out baddies from underground facilities. NPCs should now have a better range of accuracy modifiers, which will ramp up accuracy based on many factors like seeing and losing sight of the target, how long the enemy sees its target after regaining sight on them, mercy times to assess how much of a threat the target is, and their loadouts. This also implements firing duration and cooldown for rapid fire and other checks with mercy timers, and adjusts accuracy when determining if a player is a threat or not. Now, I'm going to say, I ain't seen these jokers less merciful as far as I'm concerned. If you get in a good server, you know, these guys are pretty rough. I don't know what you guys' experience is, but, you know, I'm not a greatest FPS person, but I'm pretty decent. But I know now I will say this was in 3.18, not in 3.19. I went in a bunker once. You know how you come down the bunker, you come off the elevator, you make the right turn, and there's like the shelf with the boxes, right? So that's my normal spot. I jump in there, I sit. I did this, pow! That was it. Boom. I went down. It was that quick. It was literally that quick. I'm like, no, you know. And I saw the guy was over there, but man, he popped me before I could pull back. So I don't know. Have you guys seen balancing, and does it feel different to you? Does it feel like, I will say this, they don't come over and pop you like they used to. Yeah. They used to come, they used to kill you. If they popped you, they walk over there and kill you. I haven't had that happen. So maybe that was the pullback.
I mean, maybe we should fill everybody in. You know, not everybody walks in there in a white light.
Shut up. Not all of us runs around with a big old meg suit of armor on either. You know what I mean? So anyway, go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. They've been improving a lot with FPS. Yes, it has gotten better when they come around the corner or they see you and things like that. There's still things to be desired, like, you know, tracking or, you know, guns. I mean, bullet shooting through walls or things like that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, there's some major improvements through FPS. I normally don't do FPS a lot when it comes to that because I want to keep my sanity. Mm-hmm. You know, I was playing Diablo over the weekend and I went hardcore mode and I got to level 12 in the first couple of minutes of the game and died and lost everything. Yeah. Everything when you're doing hardcore. And then I went again and did level 8. So added, folks, 8, 12. Where should I have been? Right? I should have been at level 20. Died again at 8 in hardcore. And I said, screw it. So I went back to the normal mode so I can at least keep my progression. You know, and so what I'm saying is, when they fix that part, when instead of players getting shot through walls and things like that, and we've seen in other games, there are other games that are out there where players get accidentally shot through walls too. It would feel a lot better. I'm still waiting for that kick to come in, but from what they've had in the past 10 years, they're making some nice balancing improvements. It would be great if you can flip over, you know, jump over, you know, desks or things like that.
Yeah. That's something I missed. I missed the vaulting stuff. I don't know what happened with that. I missed that because that did make a big difference. I will say the AI have gotten pretty smart in some cases. Sometimes they're still dumb. It does depend on your frame rate, you know, your ping rate and everything else on how accurate they are. And, you know, sometimes you can go in, it's no brainer. And then there are other times where they're a little bit sharper. They're not like extremely difficult to do, but they can be challenging from time to time when you go in. But it just depends.
The vaulting is not consistent, Jay. I mean, there are a couple of things that you can vault over, but obviously the climbing mechanics needs to be in game. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a couple of things you can climb, but there are some games out there you can climb almost everything. So I'm just looking for that type of gameplay.
Full vaulting, it would be great when it gets that in. Okay, let's hit the next one here. Karati, I'll put this one on you.
Yeah, sure. So, number 4, new missions. Salvage this new contract called the Salvage Resource Right, where a faction or mission giver requests the scrapping of a derelict or husk in their possession, either on the ground, at a junkyard, or in space in a debris field. Players accepting the mission are tasked to scrap the derelict to the best of their ability and sell the RCM to a shop. Once the player is finished with the scrapping of the derelict, they can complete the mission in their mobiglass. This mission will have three variations. Lawful. A lawful mission giver or organization requests the scrapping of a derelict. The location is secured by the organization with orbital sentries or centurions. Lawless. Mission giver requests the scrapping of a derelict. The location is not secured in any way. Risk of being raided by pirates is present. And finally, thirdly, unlawful. An unlawful mission giver or organization asks for the salvage of a recent battle which is not accessible to civilians or cordoned off. The location is secured by hostile orbital sentries or centurions. So 3 variations.
Mm-hmm. I have not done these yet. I don't know if you guys have, and I did salvaging like crazy when it was out in the PTU, but I haven't taken on any of these missions. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say I did the lawful one.
Okay.
But I'm kind of waiting to do the lawless and unlawful. I'm kind of staying away from life of crime just for a week for certain reasons.
Are these profitable? I mean, are you getting paid well on these or no? Do you know?
So I would say, and I know Kelosal could definitely give impact his opinion thereafter. I would say at least you know where the location is, so you don't have to spend time looking
for it. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So it has its own. Of course, you have to purchase and everything. The location, and then of course you have the 30Ks and those things, which of course they're resolving gradually. But outside of those, I would say they have the advantages versus the non-value added time of just going out and looking for a scrap heap, unless you're with a party or someone else who's doing missions, and from those missions you get the actual generated husks already from them destroying the NPCs.
Okay. Kelosal, you got anything about these?
Yeah, Karati made some good points. I have played the lawful and the lawless. I have not played the unlawful yet. And yes, Fast Cart, I have a lot of sanity. So I played this when they first retweaked the new salvage system, and when they brought it out, that's when I went ahead and that very first day when they brought it out, I went ahead and jumped in a Vulcan and went out there and did both the lawful and the lawless.
Okay.
And there's a lot of lawful, you're in a secured area, blah blah blah. Lawless, it was not so secure, obviously. You a little bit further out of a rest stop. Okay. And it just happened to be that there were some bad guys that came out there, and I had to shoot them in my Vulcan. That was the default the outfitted with the default equipment. So, but that was fun. I've never gotten a chance to go ahead and finish the mission. Just like Karati said, there were a lot of the 30Ks just kept popping in. So I never really got a chance to enjoy the full Salvage gameplay. So maybe somebody in the chat can go ahead and chime in on that and let us know how that it is. But I'm looking forward to it. The one thing that I am looking forward to do, Karati, I think you might see a smile in this, is the unlawful aspect, because I haven't done so. I'm really good friends with the Hurstons and the Clasher Rehabilitation Center.
God, here we go.
Over there. So the warden has a locker for me, a room, padlock, and things like that. So I try to stay away from there from time to time because I often end up there a lot.
Mm-hmm. We believe you.
Yeah, what he should have said, they have a padded room for him, not a padlock. That's what we need to say. All right, so that's that on the salvage stuff here. Let's see, Kelosal, how about that one? You read that one for us.
With the new missions?
Yes, new missions, All
right, new missions. Ghost Hollow PvP mission, which is what Jay was talking about earlier. A new mission type to follow Ghost Hollow crash site on Microtech, making use of the comm array as well as the AI nav mesh. This mission type will create PvP encounters where players will need to fight for control over terminals for a chance at big credit payouts. This is a mission with outlaw AUEC terminals in the Reclaimer Derelict. When active, they generate an AUEC that anybody can withdraw, creating PvP encounters between players trying to control the terminals, which are also guarded by Outlaws AI. To start this event at the Ghost Hollow crash site, a player would need to disable the Stanton 4 comm array above Microtech, which will enable the terminals and send out a mobi-glass communication to all nearby players. Once done, the terminals can be activated in the tower next to the derelict ship. That's interesting. Good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Last night, you guys know we started doing Soul Shenanigans on Saturday nights, and where you guys can come play with us in the game. And so there were a group of us on last night, along with some cool people, MT Stunner, Beetlejuice, other folks came on board and hung out with us last night. And we said that we were going to do Ghost Hollow. I've been to Ghost Hollow previously, but not for the PvP mission. And so I just did the PvE thing back in the day. So anyway, we went last night and led by BBG, and we got there and we were having a great time. We did our first, it was nighttime when we arrived, and we got our first haul from the machines. And then one by one, we started getting picked off, one by one. There was somebody flying around out there. We knew there was somebody out there, and we just kept getting picked off. I think the first person got picked off, they died. We brought a Carrack, so they resurrected in the Carrack. We were parked out a little bit. Then another person went down, but they were in-capped. And, like, okay, what's going on? So we're trying to figure this out one by one. We're going. Then next thing you know, somebody gets on the Carrack and kills Gomob. And so we're like, what the heck is going on, right? So we're like, we got somebody out here messing with us. We're running around trying to figure this out. The next thing you know, I go down. No, Beetlejuice went down. I went to go heal Beetlejuice. Then I go down. But the kicker was, it was nighttime, but we never saw who it was. Well, if you notice, there's somebody in the middle of the screen laughing. I don't have to drop no names.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Griff.
Of course.
Kelosal. Not only did he show up, he showed up invisible. We couldn't see him.
And I didn't know that.
He didn't know it. So he's popping us, and we're like, what's going on? I mean, listen, we couldn't get one shot off. Like, not one gun, not one time did somebody get the fire at anything moving, and we couldn't figure out why. And then we finally found out this dude had the invisible player bug. He didn't know it and was wiping us out last night. So we finally got out of there. After we made 300,000 and hit the road, and then who was on the ship? You took the A2, right? You took Captain Jones. Captain Jones is in the A2. He kills Captain Jones and starts trying to take off. Then we go looking for him. We get in the character and chase after him. There's a big debate on whether he self-destructed or whether we blew him up. We have not figured that out yet. But
we got to do a rematch, man.
The cool thing was that he brought some excitement to it, for us last night. We had a good time last night. So
I'm calling shenanigans.
Yeah. So if you guys have not done Ghost Hollow at nighttime, it is definitely challenging. But we had a great time. Like Gomob said, we killed him. Gomob said that's the story, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm open for a rematch, man.
Yeah, he says that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. We killed him. Okay.
Watch out, Gomob. He's gonna come at you in the Aurora.
Yeah, there you go. If
it's one thing, though, I would definitely say that they did a great job with regards to the Ghost Hollow map.
Yes.
And I'm going to compare it. It's not the same thing, but compared to Jumptown, I've had my my comms about the cycling doors.
Mm-hmm.
Having that there kind of makes it too easy for the person's inside to know that someone's infiltrating.
Right.
With Ghost Hollow, it kind of, in my opinion, it equalizes the playing field for someone who's actually getting the credits versus someone who's trying to infiltrate and stop them and get their own. So that openness, I really, really enjoy. And of course, the verticality. I love the verticality between Ghost Hollow and the surrounding areas and having to climb and everything. So the multiple entrances, having that suspense build, I really, really love that they're actually making more use of this. And, I really hope that they continue to make more use of other similar large ships with that kind of verticality.
You know what else is nice? Performance. When we first got Ghost Hollow, if you went there in the daytime or whatever, I mean, your computer would crank down, you know, all the foliage and the leaves and everything. If you went inside the Derelict, your frame rates would kick back up again. You'd be great.
Yeah.
But when you went outside, if you went into that dense forested area around there, it would slow you down. And now the performance it was smooth as silk last night when we were there.
And
it was great.
you know, Griff, really quickly, I had to say that, you know, it's a testament to the amount of time that they took with regards to Gen 12. We kind of heard about the woes of a recently played game, recently released game that also starts with Star. And you know, from what I recall, one of the challenges that they're facing is what CIG spent a long time resolving with Gen 12, where persons are thinking, you know, the GPU isn't powerful enough when it's actually the CPU that's holding everything back.
That's right, it's bottleneck.
So, you know, you're seeing these improvements, not just from the visual standpoint, but from the performance standpoint as well.
Good point. Okay. All right, let's hit this next one here. The tractor beam. Attach and detach. Tier is 0.5. Items attaching and detaching. Enabling handheld tractor beams to attach and detach items such as ship components and allowing players to sell those salvage items for profit. This iteration of the tractor beam gameplay will add the functionality to the tractor beam attachment to their multi-tool to detach and attach items from ships' item ports. This functionality can either be used for component exchange, replacement, or restocking of scavenge other ships to use to make profit. Players can lock and unlock the ability to remove weapons and components from their ship with a new port unlock option in the inner thought, which in a cockpit or using the new port unlock keybind default right alt and plus K. Pardon me. While aiming at a component with the tractor beam to detach it, hold B, and it will highlight the object with a glow around its perimeter shape. Left click and drag and pull the component loose from the socket hardpoint. While attaching components, an AR marker will appear to give players guidance on the correct orientation to attach the component correctly. If the hollow outline is green, simply let go of the item and it will attach. If the hollow outline is yellow, rotate the item until the outline turns green. If the hollow outline is red, the item does not fit the item port's requirements. So I was with Kelosal the other day. He helped me a lot because we were trying to figure out, I took a prospector route because I had heard, Karati, that you could take these saddlebags off of the prospector. And hadn't seen it. So I said, well, let me do it. And I struggled, couldn't figure out what was going on. So in the prospector, I knew there was an unlock mode. I didn't know what the keystroke was for it, but I was looking around on the panels on the ship, trying to find, is there a button here that I can do unlock with? For some reason, when I did do the keystroke, either I was hitting it and wasn't waiting long enough, or it popped up and disappeared. I don't know, but I never did see it come up on the screen. Eventually I did. And so Kelosal kept saying to Griff, there's got to be something there with the keystroke. And finally we got it going. I was able to pull the guns off the prospector, put them back on the prospector. I was able to take the saddlebags off, put them back on. Even though the full implementation of saddlebags isn't there where you get the replacement bags to come out, we definitely see that they've got it set up to do that. But I know there have been some people, Space Tomato and some other people, who were doing full operations, mining operations, pulling bags, loading them into other ships, you know? So I can't wait till that gets further developed in the game. So
I'm gonna have to look at that. And I think that was also either Fabric or Standard that was also helping out with that.
Yep. Standard. I think Standard was on. Both of them might have been. I don't remember.
Yeah, both of them were on, but I know they gave some good information as well. I have tried that system in terms of detaching and attaching stuff because I've tried that with blowing up ships, and then following them down to the surface and try to snatch some weapons because. You can do that even with those ships that are disabled or blown apart. But I've never tried to sell the items yet. So maybe that's something that we could participate in.
New to try
in the next coming days.
Cool. Unfortunately, you can't sell player weapons. And I guess that's one things with regards.
Karati, you're cutting out a little bit, so stay close to your mic. We heard you say you can't sell player weapons, but that was the last thing we heard.
Oh, right. So you can't sell the player weapons, the default weapons from other players and from your own ships. So, at least on the other side of the law, that's where the piracy is a bit difficult. That's where they can only rely on hull scraping. The other thing as well that occurred over the course of the improvements for salvaging or the development of it was that the cost of the weapons aren't as attractive as they used to be. Even when you detach them from NPC weapons, which is honestly, at first I was like, okay, that it's a bit unattractive and doesn't really make any sense to salvage those weapons unless you really need them. But eventually, it is my view that the value of Alpha UEC won't be as valuable as recycling the resources from those weapons.
Right.
So even though, right now they may not be, as profitable, perhaps when you strip these items from these ships, you can recycle them to get something more valuable, which is resources for things like crafting or doing other things that resources will be used for. It'll be, a lot more valuable to have those resources versus selling it to get the Alpha UEC.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. There's ships like the Reclaimer that has a grinder mechanism in there. Maybe you could put it in there and hopefully, I know this is pushing it a little bit, but maybe they can go ahead and, you can put those weapons in there, let it grind up and give you the resources that you want to go ahead and take from it. I just obviously taking those weapons shouldn't be profitable. Handheld weapons like automatic rifle or things like that. They may be profitable if you take them pirates. They are in need for the card for go ahead and get other things they're going to take. So I would find it more profitable taking those groups of people, those weapons, and probably get a better profit than taking it to a standard, UEE port. Talking about, hey, I got a weapon, $2,000. No, so
okay.
All depends on where you go.
Absolutely. Let's take a quick station break here. I want to give some shout outs to some people. Thracazox, thank you for that sub that you gave out to Fastcart. Fastcart don't need no subs, Thracazox. Don't give that guy anything. Charles, we said thank you to you. His Divine Shadow, thank you for the sub that went out to Maiden Ariana, and also to the one that went out to Kai Zen. Thank you so much for that. I said Kai Zen earlier, but it was actually HDS who gave those out. And Chaos, thank you for following. We appreciate that. Listen, we are just $15 away from our next mark. We are almost at the $500 mark. You guys are amazing.
I believe
since Thursday.
Just $15.
We're almost there. But by the end of the show, we're going to hit it. I can tell you. And if we do, we're going to give away a Soul package. Don't forget, that's going to be Soul Citizens t-shirt, hat. What I'm wearing the hat right now, guys. Hat, t-shirt, the metal water bottle. They're going to get 4 tumblers, 4 glasses, 4 shot glasses. And there's something else that's included in there too. So we're going to give you a whole Soul Citizens package if we hit that $500 mark today. So we want to tell you guys thank you for that.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on to our next one here, which is mining and balancing. Okay, is this on me? This one's on me, right? Because Kelosal read the last one, right? Okay.
No, you just did
it's on Kelosal.
right?
Did I do the last one?
Yeah,
Okay.
mining and balancing. Yeah, my favorite. One of my favorites. All right, mining and balancing, version 1. You should be on version 20. With 3.19 comes update to both ships and FPS mining with wide sweeping balance changes to sell prices, refining effectiveness and costs, component stats, multi-crew mining efficiency, mineable the difficulties and masses with large asteroids, resources distribution, as well as the addition of new mineables. The goal in 3.19 is to make multi-crew mining more attractive and even out of all materials, to make them all more lucrative instead of a select few.
Yes.
Okay. I really haven't participated in the multi-crew mining yet. I heard it's quite nice. I know when some people tried it, there were some type of penalties when this first came out, I believe.
Yeah,
like some people's rah and things.
Yeah, what they did, and and we could talk about this because I'd love to get you guys' thoughts on it. Okay. What CIG did, and there's everything here that they talked about is really nice, except for this subject. This subject I'm talking about, I'm not saying it's not nice. I'm saying this is the one that people are having a problem with.
Mm-hmm.
It's the fact that if I go out in a prospector and I mine, that's fine. But if I use 2 or 3 prospectors, I'm penalized with what I can pull that way versus if I used 3 people in a mole. Now, the way CIG said it, when they said it at first, I thought was kind of cool. What they said was that the mole, being the type of ship that it is, with the computers and everything, it would be more proficient at pulling materials from a rock versus the prospector. Okay. So basically what it says that if you got a mole, you can make more money. If you have 3 people doing a prospector, you're not going to make as much money as the same 3 people in a mole. So people who own prospectors feel a little certain kind of way, right? Because they're doing the same level of work, but they're taking a penalty. And so I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think that the prospector people, even though there are 3 in there and 3 in a mole, they should, the idea of the mole doing a better job kind of makes sense. Now, maybe it does a better job because of its filtration. It's designed to do a little bit more, less, maybe that if they sold it that way. But if it's that we're both pulling from the same rock, but here's the one over here is having problems just because they're a prospect. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that either. Yeah, mole does have bigger lasers, Raytheon. I agree. It can, but you can still use a tier 1. Now, if you're using a tier 2 laser, obviously it's going to pull better than a tier 1. I get that. I don't know if the tier thing makes a difference. That's a good question, because I like Kelosal. Kelosal tell you, we used to go out, me, him, Robert, we would go out and do the mole, and that was fine. We haven't done it in this patch. So I don't know. What do you guys think about this quote unquote penalty for multiplayer in a prospectors versus multiplayer in the mole?
So go ahead.
I mean, I'd be guilty to really try to give any type of information to something that I really have lack of knowledge about.
Okay.
What I can say is this: if that is happening, since a lot of people are saying it's happening like that, then just go back to the basics. You have a starter mining ship, and you have a more advanced mining ship.
Which is what a prospector is, right? It technically is a starter mining ship.
Right. So why would you give a starting mining ship
the same thing as what
it should not happen? I think they could have a level 1 laser, level 5, and whatever it is, but not a level 2. Level 2 laser should be for the more advanced bigger ships, like a mole that can be able to go ahead and bring in a lot quicker resources a lot quicker, because they have at least 3 guns, and they have a lot of capacity, better components to go ahead and handle that. So maybe there shouldn't be a penalty, but there should be at least, if it's not going to be a penalty, there should be a distinctive difference between the two.
Similar, like we know the Orion is going to be no comparison to the mole, right? I mean,
correct.
So yeah, I get that. And I do get what you're saying about a starter ship being able to produce the same level as a more advanced ship. I agree with you there. The question is for solo players, does this force them into, and we can get into the whole social dynamic of multi-crew, multiplayer versus solo player. Does the solo player become limited by being forced to stay in a starter ship? If they want to mine on their own, you're not going to want to take I know there are people who do this. They go get a mole and, mine on their own. But should there be a ship that's an intermediate that allows a solo player to step up from a starter, get better mining results without having to go to a multi-crew ship? Is that an option, that they create an intermediate?
You can't always get what you want.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying there are intermediate fighters. There are fighters that are, there's graduating, and I'm just talking for solo players. There's a starter version, and then there's an intermediate version. After that, you got to go to multi-crew, which becomes the mole, this new RSI mining ship that they're making, and then the Orion. So you provided an avenue for the solo player to do better. It gets them out of that starter without forcing them into a 3-person ship. Even financially, you got to pay a little bit more money to go to a mole.
So yes,
whether it's real money or play money, you know what I mean?
Right. I think you can, but there ought to be some type of hurdles that keeps it from that person still operating at the same level as a 3-person ship. Maybe instead of you having 4 bags, you got 2. Maybe it's because now you got to do more runs or something like that. You are always going to get that one person who wants to do everything that Papa can do. You're always going to get that one person who always wants to say, "I like do." I mean, we saw some come into test over the weekend. I just like playing. I like chilling, but.
Yeah, and I get. We've talked about Chris wants to promote multiplayer collaborative play. We get that, right? You're right.
Right. But I'm just saying that I'm sorry for that one player, but if you can somehow take lemons and make lemonade with just one ship, with the things that is just restricted to, then more power to you. You're probably going to hold off all the different types of information that it took for you to go ahead and garner that money. But it's just difficult to try to go ahead and say, hey, that one person should be effort as much efficiency as a mole with 3.
And I agree. I'm not saying that you have the same level of efficiency. I agree with you there. I 100%. I think what you proposed about efficiency, I 100% agree. I'm just trying to figure out, is there some avenue? I don't know. I get what you're saying. I agree. Go ahead, Karati.
I'm going to challenge this and say that there may be some advantages in some way to using 3 prospects versus. And if they play their cards right, it can be dependent on resource management. Now, we know that with the mole, it's a larger ship, more moving parts. There is a possibility that you may need to have an additional person on the ship, right, to help manage the systems in case they start breaking down.
Right.
Now, with the Prospector, a much smaller ship, you have 3 individual ones. Even though there is that limitation versus using a mole, there's lack of synchronization. The chances of things breaking down in an individual regarding the resource management may not be as high, right, where you need somebody to constantly check the mole. So you may actually get on the surface, right, if they play their cards right with resource management, you may see on the surface less value in the resources that you get, but perhaps over a longer period of time, if you're using one mole, it can be a little bit more expensive, right? In using the mole, because you have to, pay an engineer or, pay for certain services, get, constantly repairing this or that. And of course, it all depends on the kind of size of rock and the length of period that you actually, task or do these operations for. So it can be, you can see the trade-offs. But once again, if they play their cards right with resource management.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna leave that. I'm not gonna beat that dead horse to death. By the way, just to let you guys know, we have hit our goal for today. You guys have already hit $510. Thank you so much for that. We will definitely do a giveaway in just a little bit. I have a new program here for doing giveaways, and I have never used it before, and I'm trying to see how do I. Oh, there it is. There. Okay, got it. Create a giveaway. Okay, I'm going to start trying to set this up for the giveaway. I may have to go back to the old way of doing it, but hopefully this will work. Okay, we're going to go ahead and try to set it up for the giveaway. All right, so yeah, okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into ship mining, because there's a whole nother thing here with this mining balancing thing that maybe we can cover. Is this one? Who's reading this one? Is this one on me? I don't even know what I read. Who read the last one?
I'll go.
You got this one? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I got this. So, number 8, ship mining. Resource distribution has been updated to reflect the distinct minerals throughout Stanton, which means that several locations per planet or moon now hold exclusive resources rather than full random resources. Additionally, we define so-called standard resources that are given in each mineable you will encounter. The rest of the elements have chances to appear in those rocks. The updated resource distribution is also reflected in the trading availability and refining capabilities. Every mining gadget, head, and sub-item has had a full balance pass for stats, cost, efficiency. Every item that is connected to mining gameplay loop is updated to target specific resources to be mined better or worse, depending on the setup of your mining. Multi-crew mining has also been balanced, with the getting a buff on instability if the same lasers fire on the same rock. while the prospector will get a punishment for multiple prospectors firing at the same rock on instant. Interesting.
That is interesting.
So there was one thing that I think first.
Karati, you're cutting out again, so make sure you're nice and close. Okay.
All right, sure thing. So there was one thing, I think Jade was the first one who brought it up when we were doing the ISC React when they showed off mining. It was the resource distribution. I think it was maybe it was misinterpreted by them, or they said that, for example, iron would only be found on a particular body or location versus it being, in actuality, a very common item. So, hopefully these things become more generalized where you don't have to go to a specific location to get a specific material. There would be, the class of materials generalized, and then you'd be the rarer ones where you have to go to particular locations to get them. I think the reason why they did that in the beginning is to just create some kind of temporary improvement until they can say, okay, for the general materials, maybe we can actually make more use of them so that you don't necessarily have to go toward the location specifically. Maybe if it's for a crafting, you can go anywhere to get that resource, etc. But I do like that they were able to actually make those locations and the locations of those resources more distinctive, because it, like they said, it actually helped to increase the value of some of the cheaper resources. I remember some time back, one of the arguments was that those cheaper resources that you can sell, like aluminum and those things, eventually, and it goes back to my vision, the alpha UEC wouldn't have the value, right? What you can use those resources for will have the value. But at least until we get to that point, I think that it was a good idea to kind of shift the locations of those resources to at least make the less valuable ones until you can use them as other jobs more valuable, so that someone, so that these resources aren't ignored for the time being, because selling them is all that we can do at the moment, so yeah.
Okay. Kelosal, any thoughts about the new mining piece?
Yeah, I am really stinking it up right now with the mining stuff. I am so sorry, because here's the kicker. Mining is my passion, along with exploration and the economy. And I've done very little of the because mostly I usually go out and usually multi-crew. I got some folks that I usually go multi-crew with, because you can't just let everybody jump on your ship because they don't know how to mine rocks.
True.
So I haven't done that much, but I made some notes here. It's interesting how they call things standard and exclusive in terms of resources now.
Okay.
I am definitely interested in the section where it says every item that is connected to the mining gameplay loop was updated to target specific resources to be mined better or worse depending on the setup of your mining head. I'm encouraged. Maybe some folks in chat could go ahead and elaborate on that. So are we saying that depending on the mine exclusive material versus a standard one?
You're cutting out. Say that you cut out on that last part. You were saying.
Did I cut out?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay. I'm just. Are we saying now that depending on the type of mining head that you have on your mole determines if you are going to efficiently and effectively mine a particular exclusive or standard resource?
Yes.
Like a gold or things like that, or something like that?
Yeah. And I think it would have been frustrating if they made that kind of improvement and they did not put in item stripping. Because with the item stripping, it makes it a lot easier to switch out your mining heads now. So I think that is fact that these two are in the same patch, it makes it a lot more acceptable and a lot more enjoyable. You can interact with the items and everything. So I welcome the change because of the ability to switch the mining heads without having to go to the station and switch them out.
Go ahead.
I was just answering Raytheon. He says it's easier or harder to crack a rock with certain mining heads. I get that.
Right.
I mean, that's in game right now, but I mean, I'm looking here and depending on the setup, it can make it better or worse depending on. Maybe I'm putting too. I'm thinking like, you know, let's say a helix won't be good to break a gold. You know, I'm just giving you an example. You know. But a lancet could be better to break gold, right? So I'm just thinking on that level, because there are now exclusive and standard resources. I'm also encouraged to see some cave missions. I haven't gone in there as well because they're saying that now they got some new minables that are only in these new caves. We'll see that in the next group. So interesting. I'm gonna have to go ahead and do some mining this week, Griff.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you. Yeah. No, I'm down for it.
I'll hunt you guys, but I'm down for it too.
Yeah. First of all, let's talk about this. First of all, I love the new UI that they've done. They have refined the UI better. It takes a little bit to get used to it, but it's way more intuitive once you get it. It's not as cluttered when you're using it. The idea of resources being localized to certain places, I like that idea too. The randomness, you know, if iron can be found, you know, in this particular, near this particular moon or planet, later on it'll be based on systems where you're finding stuff. For people who are into mining, it's going to be great. And the fact that they're expanding so that now Quantanium is not the big thing necessarily, you know, what's the other, Laranite, necessarily not the big thing. There are other things, astatine gas, you can make money off of that. You can make money off barrel, big time. Yeah. You know, so now when we start spreading out into the verse, we start having other places like pyro, something as simple as copper may be much more valuable there than here. So they're starting to implement this balance aspect of resources, which I like a lot. I'm into mining. So yeah, Kelosal, let's do it. I'm excited. I was, you know, finding out where they told us that some of these things you're going to have to go there to find out what minerals and resources are in those areas too. So I'm digging.
Can I ask one thing?
Yeah.
I would ask that CIG implement severe price changes now. And I'm talking about in terms of the resources that are better suited in certain parts of the system.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see that much. Yeah. We see a little bit of a, you know, maybe that's got some, their quanta, you know, a little bit later on down the line. But I mean, there are a lot of people who freak out when it happens. I want to see a lot of people freak out when they sit there and see that barrel is worth $15. I mean, 15 AUEC at Microtech, but worth 3 AUEC over there at Hurston. Yeah. You know, I want to see that because I need to see people. We got 100 and some odd people in the game now, right? You jump into not instances, but you jump into certain servers where certain servers are full. So. And I know space is big, but I would love to see that travel lane.
Oh, agree.
You know,
I agree.
You know, packed out, just people moving around, you know, vast distances to go ahead and get that money.
Yeah, because right now we know that if you just go to a landing zone, not a specific landing zone, right, the price is going to be the same. But I agree. It'll be great. Well, you know, you and I, we'd love to see the TDD light up anyway, right? I mean, we want to see the numbers and everything start to become a reality. By the way, guys,
working screen.
I think I've got the giveaway working, guys. So do ! ticket 1. I know it said 10 earlier. I told you I was trying to figure it out. So if you guys want to be in the giveaway, punch that in, ! ticket and the number 1, and that'll get you in. Folks are already lining up. I already got people coming in. So, and you should get a ticket for free. You should already have a ticket. Everybody gets a ticket.
That's right.
No big deal to get in there. Okay.
Shameless plug. The Bank of Kelosal is always open 24 hours. The Bank of
Kelosal is open. Yeah. I want to do this now instead of later because you guys were here when it happened. If other people come in later, then if we hit 1,000, we'll do another one, right? But for now, we're going to hit. But we hit 500. We're going to cover it. Okay. All right. So that was the ship mining piece. Okay. Let's mosey on down to our next one. Are we at 7? What number?
We're at 9.
I was pushing the wrong button. No wonder I had the wrong button down. Jeez.
You want me to read it?
Yeah, no, it wasn't that. I had just pushed the wrong button on my end. Okay. There we go. I'll read this one. There's no problem. FPS mining. A new mineable is introduced that is only available in the new cave systems. Kelosal just talked about that. Is a high value to encourage players to go mining with their FPS tools outside of prison. I don't know what the value price on that is, but I know people, when they found it, they were excited. I don't know if they were excited because they found it or they're excited because of how much money they're made. Do you guys know how much the value is on that stuff?
So I think one SU at least is worth, I think, $1 million or
Woo!
What?
something like that. So even from that small rock, when you break it down, that small rock is still gonna be worth a lot, right?
Ooh,
so
no wonder they were
I
happy.
see Radiant 2 is saying 27K. So yeah,
Jeez.
it's worth quite a bit.
Good googly moogly. I need to go start going back into caves.
Yeah. Sorry,
Jeez.
Karati, but if I see your name come across that screen, but I'm shooting first.
You could try. You could try.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Okay. All right. We've only got 20 people putting in for the soul pack. I know y'all want the soul citizens. Come on. Y'all want this hat. Y'all want this shirt. Come on. I know you guys want it. Come on.
Come on.
All right. We're going to give you a whole bunch of glass, a whole bunch of stuff. Go for it. Go for it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, again, I'm going to have to start picking up some FPS mining, but they say it's extremely rare, difficult to find. So, you know, don't be frustrated if you go in a mine and you don't stumble across anything. Just know that's the deal. You know, if you get
So we do know it's in a new cave, so don't look in the old caves if you're looking for that.
I still haven't found the new caves yet.
Okay, here we go. Jade, knocking on your door, Jade, because we already know what we already know that you know.
HDS said super duper rare. Yeah, he says super duper rare, he says. So, okay, just give you the heads up on that. All right. All right. Oh, listen. Listen. Go to the page for the updates because I couldn't cover everything. There's tons of stuff with mining listed there. So go to the patch page on Spectrum. Take a look at it if you're into mining. You want to know what all the changes are, okay? Because there's just too many of them. We spend the whole show talking about it. All right, Kelosal, let me hit you with the next one in with number 10 if you can cover that one.
All right, UI update. If you don't know what UI means, it means user interface. Just to give you a little bit of a history on that. Difficulty forecast that tells you how easy to break the rock you are facing. Reordered some elements of the UI. Details of the mining items you have currently equipped. Details on your current cargo. Clearer scanning display and clearer explanation and what is happening during scanning. Sorry, this is
Yeah, you filled me in on some stuff when you were watching me mine, which I didn't know. You know, before we just hit that one bar for cargo that would go across from left to right. But then Kelosal was like, there's another thing on your HUD. There's the curve that visually you can look at without having to look down over there. You can see while you're mining, which is cool. Like I said, they really did some really cool enhancements to the UI.
Yeah.
The optimal area for when you're within optimum range is better now. It's just better to me visually, but it also doesn't feel as cluttered as the old UI was. So I think they've done a really good job on that. Miners unite if you're into mining.
Absolutely. I still think they need to take that UI and they need to place it in one of the MFDs that you have on your ship.
Oh yeah, get the MFDs acting. Yeah, that would be cool.
You know, allow you to go ahead and switch between what you're actually seeing and Fundraiser to actually what the MFD and gives you like a type look, actually going into a different view, right? Of that, so you can at least clearly see the numbers that are on. Because some people still find it difficult to read those side because they're kind of small. But if they want a little bit more of an immersion, they need to take that information, put it on the MFD, allows you to have that option, have that UI.
Is Kelosal clipping for you guys? Is he clipping for you guys? Because he's clipping for me.
Am I clipping?
A little bit,
a little bit distance,
I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and I don't know what's going on.
Just probably bring you just a little bit closer to your mic. That's all. Yeah, they said you're clipping. Yeah.
Hello.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Let's go on to the next. Let's see how we're doing on our listen. We're going to close out this giveaway, guys, because I want to go ahead and wrap it up. Okay. We've got quite a few people who have signed up. Not many people. There's an exclamation point ticket 1. This is your last chance, gang, because we're about to punch it.
Ooh.
We're almost 6 minutes into this giveaway. So let's see. Carpathian, everybody's trying to get in. Okay, if I see some other folks there. Wow, you know what? Hold on a second. Hold on. The issue.
Saying everybody failed.
It's saying failed. Hang on a second, guys.
Go Mob. Why'd you do it, man?
Okay, you know what it is? You know what it is? It's not you guys' fault. I thought they didn't. I thought they didn't like our stuff. All right, I'm gonna close this out, guys. I'm gonna close it out. We're not gonna do that one, okay? Give me a second here. The reason why I did that was it had some type of weird. Give me 1 second. running a closed giveaway. It won't let me do it. Okay, it evidently had a cap on it.
Told you. Come up with it,
Yeah,
man.
my
Keep it that
apologies,
cap.
gang. My apologies.
There's that laugh.
My apologies. Give me a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Results.
Details of
Okay, no, okay. It's going to say who our winner is. Ignore this. Please ignore this. Ignore it. Okay, that's not real. All right? That is not true. Okay, I'm just letting you know that now because I know somebody's going to say, hey, I won. No, you didn't. I'm trying to delete the giveaways. Hold on a second here. Why are you making this difficult for me? It won't delete. It says I have a running giveaway going on. Oh, I know why. I went to a new thing here with Streamlabs, and that's why it's giving me a hard time. Where's it at?
Mm-hmm.
Giveaway. It won't remove it still. Oh, I don't know why it won't let me close these out, guys. Give me a second here. Results. I mean, please keep ignoring these. Close giveaway, refund giveaway. Back.
Don't worry, Sticky. You'll have another chance.
Draw. Yeah, don't worry. This is all fake. Maiden Ariana, sorry. Hate to break your heart. I'm sorry. Please forgive me.
Just throwing out names. Why don't we go ahead and introduce our next winner? The next winner is.
Yeah, I know.
Do not touch button.
That giveaway is complete. That giveaway is complete. I can confirm and delete that one. Results. Draw.
It turns out to be Bomap.
No, please, we cannot make GoMap the winner. You guys know that. Mark that one as complete. All right, I can delete that one. And then last but not least, would you like to delete this giveaway? Yes, okay. All right. My apologies, gang. I am so sorry.
Don't be hating on Maiden. Maybe if y'all had a name like Maiden, y'all would win too everywhere.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't go there.
I can't even drop this, but mic drop.
No, you didn't go
So
there.
hating on Maiden. You keep on winning, Maiden. You keep on winning.
Oh my God.
Hey, Ariana, how are you? It's good to see you.
Maximum tickets per user. 1 ticket per user. Subscribers get double the opportunity. Send confirmation when buying subscribers. Okay, boom, 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 boom. All right. I think this is going to work. All right. Okay. Here we go again. Start punching it in, gang. Exclamation point ticket 1. Let's see if I can get up past 20. If I get past 20, then I know it's working. So go ahead and start hitting it. There we go.
Let's go.
Go ahead and punch them in. There you go. 5, 6. They're coming in quick. Go ahead. Keep punching them in. I got to see this go past 20. If it go past 20, then that means I know I got it set right this time. 18, 20, 19. Keep going. Who else? Anybody else?
Win for me, reload.
Nobody else has punched in yet. There we go. All right, keep it going. Good. All right, good.
Nice.
All right, we're going to hit this next topic, and then I'm going to do it 5 minutes in. We're at 40 seconds. At the 5-minute mark, we'll go ahead and pull the giveaway winner. Okay? All right, let's do this next one here. That's on you, Karati. Synergy Tractor Beam.
Synergy Tractor Beam number 11. Allowed to detach, attach, mining, heads, stacks, place, and ship inventory.
Okay, we talked about that a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Mining modules and heads. I haven't done that. Plus, I know that now, like you said, they can go into your ship's inventory. Now, I don't get that completely. Are they saying?
So,
like,
I think it's the modules only that can go into ship inventory.
Oh, just the modules, heads.
Yeah.
Well, it says heads though. It says the heads and sacks.
Yeah.
Into the ship's inventory.
It could be that
how the
they
heck
kind
would
of
you do that?
It would have to shrink the size of the SCU in order for that to happen. I mean, or maybe.
But I mean, how do you put it into the ship?
Yeah, I think there was a typo with that because I know that definitely with the
Gomab says heads can't.
You can
I know you can put them in your personal inventory, but heads can't.
You can put it in the ship inventory. I mean,
but how? I mean, how do you get it into?
So you would have to be inside the ship while you're still landed on a pad.
And then transfer it into the ship's inventory from there.
From local inventory. That would be one way to do it.
Okay, from local, but not like while you're out in space. I can't like swap them out in space. Oh, HDS says the problem is you can't get them out.
Yeah, the detaching, you'll still have to use the vehicle manager app to attach it, then spawn the prospector. So the heads
get it. You use
and the
the
stacks,
vehicle
we still have
manager.
to wait. Yeah, we still have to wait for freight elevators to physicalize it. But the modules, you can always take it out and hold it, or you can drop it on the floor and track the beam it and attach it to the
Got you. Yep, that's what Jor Monk Wrecker says that. Until freight elevators were not getting mining heads and sacks being spawned out of thin air. Thank you for that. Okay. Yeah, what's Ascart? Okay, I'm not going to even ask why he's asking about.
I'm not even going to say. I'm not even.
I'm not going to even try to figure out what that's about.
Someone implement a ban, please. Joke ban. Thank you.
Yeah, please push the joke ban out real quick. Okay. All right, that's the synergy tractor beam. Let's see. What do we got next? Is
Density Manager.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Density Manager mission update. That's me, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Updated the Density Manager system so that mission entity things dropped by missions such as corpse, guns, and debris will be cleaned up when the area is streamed out. Yay, yay, and yay. As we reuse mission locations, UGFs, the location will then be cleaned up all mission items when the area is streamed out while player drop things remain as usual.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it is. These are the mission entities that disappear.
Right.
So your NPCs and stuff are the ones that disappear, but anything you drop as a player stays in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think this is, of course, just because it was just hogging the servers.
Yeah, too much. Too much.
Yeah,
like
so
you're doing
knows,
bunkers.
Exactly. So who knows? Maybe when they implement it, and of course when they start increasing the amount of points of interest, where the chances of a player going to the same location that another player or group of players went to, they may be able to actually lower the conditions for the density manager to clean up those items eventually.
Yeah. Now I know they're going to do something similar for us as players, where they're going to prioritize things, right? When you, for example, a water bottle may be low priority. It only stays in place for a minute, 2 minutes, and then it disappears or whatever. Where there are other items, a personal rifle or something may last for 5 or 30 minutes, right? Depending on what the deal is with that, right?
Yeah.
We haven't gotten there yet. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say additionally, one of the other challenges to, having to put this or make the system more aggressive is because the ability, or rather the ability for us to interact with our inventory and bring things down to put items in boxes and such, it isn't as advanced as we'd like it to be. So, before, when we first got PES and everything, players would definitely, or even before that, players would definitely go in. Comab definitely, he would take the tractor beam and gather all those dead bodies and then go up the elevator and go away.
Right.
But getting a more interactive inventory where we can actually put these items into the SCU boxes or 2 SCU boxes a lot more easier will allow us to be able to clean out these areas without density manager needing to do it itself.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I would challenge server testing groups and have all 100 and some odd people get in one location at one time and just detonate their ships. All that one, that's 100 and 125 ships, all day breaches. These are player ships now, not NPCs. These are player ships.
Right.
And to see if that either breaks the system, because that's what testing is all about, right? Can we break the system? See if that breaks the system, or if that,
HGS said filled with cargo on top of it.
I mean,
we don't know the whole comes
for science. I think we should do that.
That's funny.
Should do it.
That's funny. All right, I'm going to go grab something real quick. I'm going to leave this next one to you guys, but I'll read it because I know we're going to talk about it. We talked about it a little bit last week on the Invictus show. This is an easy one, but I want to hear Karati and Colosal's feelings on it. The RSI links. We know that they built, implemented, balanced the RSI planetary rover. The links as a game ready vehicle, and we know that it's in game now. So you guys go ahead and talk about that, and I'll be right back.
Yeah, sure, Griff. So one of the things that I'm looking forward to is the where it may not necessarily be the player driven only, but these kinds of vehicles can possibly be used for short traveling, short distance traveling of a VIP or a pair of VIPs, where you can actually be paid to either kidnap them, which is what I would like to do, or you could actually be paid to legally transport them from one outpost to another, and it could be in a dense environment. Who knows? Where you actually get paid more to keep them safe. Possibly, you're going to be given a mission with the vehicle to carry it, or if you have your own, you could actually get some reputation points or some good perks from being able to provide this kind of service. So that is what I'm really looking forward to, especially as we start thinking more and more how we can make use of these kinds of vehicles versus using our ships, especially in like no-fly zones.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these ships being used for, and when we finally get the Pioneer, and we finally get the Pioneer in, we finally get player-built cities or player-built locations, and depending on how each location is.
Come up a little bit closer, Kelosal. You're clipping again.
I don't know. Maybe it's just
like this.
Like that. But I have my thing. It's keep going down. I don't know why. It's interesting.
That's what she said.
But I mean, maybe there can be things such as I don't see this running around in forests. I just don't. I see this thing running around in between cities. Lordville, to be exact.
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
Microtech is a huge area. You get across the lake just to go ahead and get to the residential area from the spaceport. So, I mean, I would think that these things would be good for that, but also, maybe should be able to be brought in at a certain area for a certain fee, or maybe a VIP status that goes along with these types of vehicles. I mean, it's just nice for them to have another company besides Origin to claim legalities to the Regal.
Well, this is what I'm going to say about the links. And like I said, we covered this last week on the Invictus show a little bit, so I'm not going to wear it out too much. But, this is one of those examples to me that leads into, if you're going to get something like this, it's pretty, it looks cute, but the question becomes, what do we do with it in game? And I think that this is another one of those examples of, if you're buying something like this, first of all, you can get it in game. That's the first off thing. But the other thing is that, obviously there's no gameplay mechanic for it right now, but we know that CIG is implementing something. And when we watched their video last week, when they introduced it, they talked about the type of people who would be using this and what they would be doing. If you look at the screens, the monitors are inside of there. They are there for dealing with making money, profit. Does this tie into the TDD, where if you're, being able to negotiate stuff? I'm sure you'll be able to use it for other things too. But I really want to say, don't look at the links as something or anything that's in relation to this type of gameplay based on where we are now. It's going to be, what does CIG want this to do later? And right now, we just don't know enough. So yeah, it's cool to ride around in. What are the pros to it? Obviously, it's nice to ride around in, right? But it has computer terminals in it for doing some form of communication that's inside of it. It's a little bit faster than the regular Ursa rover for movement. Not a lot faster, but a little bit faster. But what are its negatives? Well, there's the armor it's lighter in armor, so it can't take a lot of punishment to it. The other factors to it is it limited? Is it specialized for doing only certain things? You can't carry, there's 2 in the front, 2 in the back, where the regular Lynx is 6 people. So, for some people, this vehicle is great, even without the gameplay. They're enjoying it, particularly people who are role players. They probably dig it. Where other people, the Ursa rover is sufficient for what they want to do. So we'll have to see where they go with this type of gameplay. Is going to come from vehicles like that, the G12 and other vehicles that may come out later. So, you know, a lot of times people say, what do we do with this thing? I don't know how to do it. It ain't there yet, gang. So just, you know, for right now, enjoy it. That's all I would tell you about it. Okay. We're going to close out the raffle real quick. I wanted to give you guys some samples of what it is that you're looking for. By the way, don't forget, exclamation point, ticket in one. Somebody is looping through Kelosal. I'm looping through on your speakers right now. So the items that we talked about is going to be the Soul Citizens. Can you see that? You can see that, right? Soul Citizens water bottle. Karati, I got to ship one of these down to the Caribbean for you. There we go. All right. Nice. There is a Soul Citizens glass. This is the glass that you can get. So if you like drinking your Kool-Aid or whatever you can, you've got one of these. Then there is a Soul Citizens tumbler for those of you who enjoy your beer. If you want that big 20 ounce or whatever this is, you can drink out of that. And then there's also, for those of you alkies like Kelosal, you can get the Soul Citizen shot glass if you want to get that. You get 4 of all of these, one water bottle, but 4 of the glasses each. So that's 12 glasses. And then you'll also get a Soul Citizen's hat, and you'll get a Soul Citizen shirt. Not this one. This is the old model. There's a newer version that's bigger and all this, much cooler. So you guys will get that. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So we got everybody in. We're going to get ready to close this out right now. Let's see who's let's see. Let me where's my where to count down the giveaway.
I drink coffee, by the way. I just serve alcohol socially.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord. All right. I gotta find the giveaway thing. Where's my button for it? Close the giveaway. Why is it telling me to hold on a minute? Hold on. Hold your horses, gang. Timer. You know what? I think I really jacked this up big time. There's a public page. There it is. Okay, 28 people. Tickets, got it. Boom, boom. All right. Guys, forgive me. This new Streamlabs Elements thing is driving me insane trying to figure out how to use this thing. All right, where's the thing at? It won't let me close the giveaway. Oh, there we go. All right, there we go. All right, everybody's in. All right, give me the countdown, Karati.
5, 4, 3, 1.
Boom. There we go. Dethan, are you there? If Dethan is there, Dethan, you are the winner. Dethan? I don't know.
5% chance to win.
Damn.
I haven't seen Dethan. Is Dethan there still? Dethan might have left. Who knows?
Must be present to win.
Dethan.
Must be present to win.
Whoop, whoop, Gauke. Maybe he's not. Maybe Dethan left. Maybe Dethan. Uh-oh. Come on, Dethan. Reload. That's a weird way to spell reload. Okay. All right, Dethan. We're going to give a count here. All right. Going once.
You can do it, Dethan. Come on, Dethan.
Going twice. Hope you didn't go to the refrigerator to get something to drink.
Run back.
Going 3 times.
You can do it.
Last chance. No Dethan in chat. Okay, that answers that. Thank you, Alex. Okay, all right.
Ooh.
All right, we're going to draw another winner. Kelosal, you do the countdown this time.
All right, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and the winner is...
Sandgroper, are you there? Sandgroper, we're looking for you.
3.5% chance. I wonder how many people win.
Yep. Sandgroper is there. Congratulations, Sandgroper.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Sandgroper's in chat. Fast cart being funny. He's being funny. Sandgroper, congratulations. Sandgroper, send us your. Now you have to. This is going to be stuff that gets mailed to you. So I need a PO box, mailing address. You know, somebody you love, whatever. Send to soulcitizens@gmail.com. You can also send it directly to us through Twitch if you want, but if you want to send it via email, make sure you put the name down where it needs to go, and we will make sure that we get that out to you, all right, with your address, mailing address, and we'll get those items out to you. Congratulations again. We really appreciate you being here with us today. Okie dokie. We are
Alex, I would just like to say that Sand can be very therapeutic but I won't say the word.
Thank you, Tones. Okay, let's move on to our next piece. We only have 15 items. We're on item number 14, guys, so we're almost done here, okay? Go ahead and read that, Karati.
All right, so we are at number 14, the Mirai. So the Mirai has a game-ready vehicle, as well as the Mirai Fury MX. Mirai Snub Bomber, the Mirai MX, as a game-ready vehicle. Love that ship.
All right, guys, there was a lot of buzz about these ships when they came out. Then when people started flying them, there were some people who liked them, and there were other people who were like, yeah, it's okay. And it has, obviously the ship needs to be tweaked. They have already started doing some tweaking to it, but Kelosal, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts about the Mirai, the Fury, and the MX, or just that series of ships?
Well, I mean, it's a great ship. I mean, it's an okay ship. It does what it's supposed to do. I mean, I'm quite sure it's not at gold standard yet. So, I mean, I know they've been putting out a lot of ships now that are close to being gold standard or somewhat at gold standards. But it's a great ship. It just doesn't have any get over, folks. Put it in your ship and call it a day. Transport. I mean, I would like to see a whole.
Hey, you got to come closer to your mic again because you pulled back from your mic and you're cutting.
See, I don't know what's really going on, but
when you're close like that, you're fine. When you lean backward, I lose you.
Man, gotta kiss it.
Yeah, I know, right? I can't do it on television. A little too sensitive, but I mean, these ships, both the Fury and the MX, one is a missile variant, the other has guns. I mean, what is it? What is it? Size 2 guns, I believe. Size 2 on the Fury, and and some decent number of missiles on the MX. A very good ship, very maneuverable. I'm still looking for them to tweak more maneuverability because I'm looking for it to turn. I mean, like flip, vertically, or I'm looking for that to happen a little bit quicker. I haven't seen that unless somebody who's a good flyer that do all this flying while decoupled can show me at least how to make that ship flip like you see on the commercials. I'm still waiting for that feature to kick in because that ship needs to do that in order to impress me. It's that type of a ship that should function like that. So
yeah,
but great ship to have. It's $55.
Yeah. Karati?
Yeah, I would say that one of the gripes that
now I'm losing you.
Oh, you losing me? Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we hear you.
Good now. Okay, good. So one of the things I think that persons have some gripes with is mainly due to the mechanics that aren't at the fault of the Fury, and that's with regards to the refueling, etc., and all those things, and rearming, etc., etc. That's that isn't in the game yet.
Yeah.
Personally, I really like transporting the Fury. If I find myself needing inventory, for example, I use my cutlass, and I put the Fury in there. It can fit, and I still have inventory in it. Then I could actually go, and if I think I'm in a environment, especially since I really like doing atmospheric bounty missions, I wouldn't fight with my cutlass, right? I would go with my Fury. So I would, keep the cutlass suspended in Atmo at some distance away, and I would deploy my Fury. It's a lot more capable that way. And of course, after I take down those NPCs, I can go back to the cutlass, fly it back to the vector point where the NPCs were downed, and I can, get those weapons if I think that I can use them, etc., etc. So it has its uses still, and of course, as mentioned in chat, it can really serve as a really fun racing ship. I've flown it a few times as a racing ship, and yeah. So overall, I think when these systems, refueling, etc., rearming, comes into the game more from the parent ship, especially refueling. I think these will be a lot more valuable outside of the debate where some may say that it feels sometimes a little too tedious to get in the ship, get out of it, get in, get out of it. But I think that all depends on the amount of game activity that you plan on using, when you deploy the Fury. Currently, you may not be necessarily using or have a lot of activity, which is the reason why we may sometimes experience that kind of repetitive, non-value added activity. But eventually, when we have that activity where we deploy the Fury and we're actually outside of our parent ship for a much longer period of time, I think that's where we'll start seeing that kind of
All right. I will say that I liked the Fury. Flew it, enjoyed it. Fuel consumption was definitely an issue. The original, when it was first put out, it didn't bother me that much. I just felt like, the fuel probably is going to need to be adjusted. And then ultimately CIG said they were going to make an adjustment to it. Definitely view that ship. And we talked about this again last week on the Invictus show. It is our version of the TIE Fighter. And so TIE Fighters are designed to be around a mothership. They're not intended to go long range in space. It's a snub. I'm hoping that snub fighters become much more relevant in game. Kelosal and I've talked about this in the past, how we've used P-72s, P-52s to do scouting. When a Carrack wants to land somewhere, we just, go down and land, look around. And I'm hoping, even though these are snub fighters and bombers, I hope that, there becomes more reasons for people to use ships like that. Reconnaissance, for example, is also good for those ships too. And I've heard some people talking last week telling us that they've used the P-52 and P-72 even in combat to protect their connies and stuff, and they are a pain in the butt if you have the right person flying those ships.
Yes, they are.
So I think people underestimate those ships because everybody has in their minds there's no quantum drive, so it's useless. And I think that it's just going to be a mindset thing. But of course, as gameplay comes in that demands those ships, that's going to help too. So I think those ships are, and plus, the surprise here was introducing a new manufacturer, which not expecting. This offshoot of MISC, and I know.
No disrespect to Kai, who did a very good sales pitch about Drake over the weekend.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Hello, Drake.
All right, we're on our final category here, gang. Last but not least, and this one even has a little bit of controversy that goes to it. Ships and vehicles. They added the Corsair, the Cutter, the C8R Pisces to the in-game shops. You can now not only just rent them, but you can purchase those ships in-game. And there was a little bit of scuttlebutt that the Vulture was not included on that list of ships. And obviously, salvage was a big thing that people have enjoyed doing. So if you don't own one, you can't purchase one yet in-game. Karati, I'll go to you first on this one. Thoughts about any of those ships? Accessibility now in the game?
Yeah. I'm very glad that they were able to add the Corsair, the Cutter, and the C8R Pisces. Of course, one of the reasons why, outside of PTU, that I haven't been doing much salvaging is because I didn't buy the Vulture for real world cash. I mean, like it or not, it is still one of the value streams that CIG uses to gain money, and who knows, it could have been why they delayed it. We have the salvage missions, so if you want to test and experience those missions right now, could be that you have to pledge for a Vulture. Of course, you could always wait. You can always wait until it comes into the game. But with regards to the ships that are currently in the game, since the Cutter came online, I've always really, really liked it. I haven't bought it just yet. I'm still saving up to buy it in game, but I was really, really glad for the C8R Pisces, particularly because any or many of the Orison, before they were taken out temporarily, missions that I did, there was always either a dead player next to the C8R Pisces that I could have used to heal myself or at a bunker mission. So thank you for everybody that flies that C8R. It really, really saves my butt. The Corsair, I love that elevator that it has, where you can go up top. I really, really hope that other ships in the future can do something similarly. It actually kind of reminded me of the Lookout for the Hull C. I don't know if the new version of the Hull C is going to side, I think, but it was really nice to see that kind of feature with the Corsair.
Yeah. Cyprus, no, the Reclaimer does not have a snub or any other type of parasite ship to it.
It only has a drone.
It has drones. That's the thing that it's got, and it's got drones. So that's its thing that it uses. Last night when we did shenanigans last night, BBG took out his Corsair. Most of us piled into it. We really were trying to do some group gameplay. We got into it and had a real good time with it. ship was very faithful to us till we were landing in Microtech. We hit one of those. Have you guys ever hit one of those dead spots in the game where your ship just starts to sink by itself for no reason whatsoever, even though you're going forward? It happens at Lordville. If you fly over some of the high rises, all of a sudden you just start losing altitude for no reason whatsoever.
I've never experienced that.
Yes, it happened to him last night. We were making final approach heading toward the nest, and all of the port asymmetrical wings. So all he had was the one on the starboard side.
Ooh, oh man.
And in atmosphere. But like a trooper, BBG hung in there and he leveled us off and brought us down to the ice and landed us, all 6 or 7 of us. We were like, oh God, please don't kill us. In fact, he hit a building twice and we didn't blow up. The second one, we just knew we were going to blow up. But the Corsair took a licking and kept on ticking, and we were able to land on the ice. And then I think Gomob went and got his Carrack and came and picked us up. So it worked out really, really nice yesterday. But I was sweating because I was like, man, I'm going to wake up all the way back in freaking ArcCorp. I got to come all the way back. So he kept us alive. You know, obviously people being able to get the cutter in game is going to be great for people who like that as a nice starter ship, an alternative. C8R, same thing. Like you said, it's a popular ship that a lot of people love flying in because of the fact that it's got the med bed in it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's great that these ships are in game. The Vulture will be coming next, gang. So as frustrating as it may be and as popular as Salvaging was, it hit its 90-day mark. I think it's past its 90-day mark now. So we should be getting it in 3.20. I would think that's going to probably drop into shops at that point. That's about it. We do have some questions. We got a lot of questions in Q&A. In fact, I think some of these questions may be bogus questions because I see Fastcart put some stuff in here, but I don't know. We'll have to see if they're legitimate questions. Let's start with, we got some joke bands in here. Oh my God, I keep forgetting that these joke bands go in here. Okay.
Thank you.
This one is from Danger Hobo. Would Soul Citizens be on if the Bulls were in the finals? The answer is I could care less about the Bulls. I live in Chicago, and I lived through the Michael Jordan years where basketball was real. So this stuff now, it's not enough to pull me away. So I would not be here. And I know Kelosal could care less about the Bulls. He's a big, don't even get me started on the teams that he likes to watch. Karati, do you are you talking Kelosal? Or
Yes, I was. I'm so sorry. I had it on mute. I responded back to his post. I said the day the Bulls make the finals is the day Detroit makes the finals again. So since we're all in the same boat with the type of reputation that our teams have, it's going to be a while before Chicago makes the final, including the Detroit Pistons. So yes, I am in Florida, but I have always been a Detroit Pistons fan. Yes, go Bad Boys, Isaiah Thomas, Bill Laimbeer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So Griff and I are really good friends and connected at the hip because of that rivalry.
Yes, we are. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, basketball was good before Jordan, but I lived through those playoff years. You know what I mean? Where we had the, the 6 rings and all that stuff. So back then, all the teams were much more spectacular than they are now. It just doesn't draw me in anymore.
I agree.
Yeah. Fast Cart. There's another band joke. I should have known these were all band jokes. Look at this. These are all band jokes. We had one question and we had 9 band jokes in there. Okay, so that tells you something about where we are. When it comes
Thank you, everyone that contributed to that.
Yeah, I'm just. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay. Anyway, you guys know that we have Soul Citizen merchandise. We gave away a nice package tonight, but you guys, of course, have always been supporting us. We really appreciate the fact that you guys support us with our merchandise. So feel free to click on the links that are there on their page if you guys are interested in any of these Soul Citizens merch. And let's go ahead and start talking about what we've got coming up on next week. We've got some cool stuff coming up. Karati, why don't you talk about first one? Kelosal, you talk about the second one. I'll talk about the third one.
All right. So Thursday, Soul Talk at 9 p.m. Discuss things that's been happening throughout the week. ISC, last week's SCL, if it had an SCL, roadmap, patch notes, all those things we discuss, and everyone is free to come in. Share your thoughts, share your opinions. We are welcoming everybody. And yes, that's Soul Talk on Thursdays.
All right. I brought him in just in time. So you can talk.
There you go.
We want to see, we don't just have his voice in the background. We have to see him. There he is.
Cool.
With his holiday background. Oh, geez. You and those backgrounds. Jeez, oh, Pete.
It's the string that keeps on giving.
Mm-hmm.
Soul Voices comes on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, where we talk about so many things, including the ability to fly in a Drake and dying in a Drake. But that's how things goes when you're running in a Drake family. But Soul Voices is a place where we bring in the community, and the community gets to come in and call in, or they go on the Discord. Griff and everybody reads posts from either Reddit or Twitch or any other social media that is out there to go ahead and talk about any types of conspiracy theories, theory crafting, or any types of concerns from the community. And we do bring in our folks from Soul Citizens, and we like to bring in other people to come in. You guys are all invited to come in on Saturdays at 3 p.m. It's a part of a trio of a podcast. Soul Citizens starts it off, and then it goes from Soul Citizens to Paul Shelley and the Astropub, and then it goes from him to Relay. So, and correct me if I'm wrong on that one, Griff, but I believe that's pretty much the pattern.
That's it.
So come on in on Saturdays, guys. It's a good place to be. Sometimes, our gangsters come in and have a conversation with the community as well. So just, be on the lookout for that as well.
Well,
Saturdays,
to your point, I'm glad that you just said that. We have our 50th episode coming up in just a few weeks for Soul Voices. And we will have a new player hater joining us for that show. So that's all I'm gonna say. We got a new player hater that's gonna be joining us.
Get your
hate
ready, guys.
So yeah, that'll be for our. I think we're on our 47th show right now. We're not gonna meet the next 2 weeks, but we're gonna, by the time we get to episode 50, we're gonna announce it again. We're gonna have a new player hater that's gonna be joining us. So maybe we should have a player hater reunion, on the 50th show. What do you think, a player hater anniversary? Maybe we could have a player hater anniversary or something. I don't know. We'll figure out something, celebrate our 50th episode there. But that'll be coming up. And then next Sunday, we were doing Star Citizen, The Next Generation. What is that about? Well, for those of you who remember Star Trek and Star Trek, The Next Generation, there was a new crew. And we know that there are new people that are becoming involved in Star Citizen. You got these old heads around here, but there are some new generation people who are maybe just coming to the game for the first few months, maybe for within a year, maybe two. We're going to have on some special guests that are going to give their thoughts about where Star Citizen is now, how they feel about the game right now. Not just those of us who, have been around for a long time, that are salty and crabby and all that other stuff. We need a little bit of enthusiasm, Kelosal. Some people who've got some real good energy about Star Citizen. So that's what's going to be happening next Sunday. Okay.
Yes.
All right. For those of you who want to support us, don't forget we have our Soul Citizen referral codes. If you see any of the Soul team's names down there and you want to use their referral code, or if you want to tell somebody their referral code, that'll help them out. That way they can get some cool stuff in the game, plus their 5,000 credits and all that other good stuff. But other than that, I think that's about it. We are ready to set up ourselves to do a raid, and one of the Soul team members is actually on tonight, and that is Abdi Johan. So we are going to set up a raid for Abdi. It's actually Abdi. I would say Abdi. I got to get that American thing out of me. It's Abdi Johan.
There we go.
So we're going to be doing that. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. We really appreciate all the support, especially for St. Jude. You guys helped us hit that first goal within 4 days of $500, and I think we're at $515, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes. So we're halfway to our next mark, which is 1,000. So we're going to be giving away all CIG concierge stuff. If you're not concierge subscriber, you don't even have access to this stuff. So we're going to give out some really cool stuff within that package. So hopefully we'll be doing that within the next few weeks. Thank you again to my co-host, Karati, to Kelosal for being here, and to all of you guys who are there helping us out tonight and for watching us. Until we see you guys next week, take care of yourselves, stay safe, peace, love, and soul. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Have a great night.
See ya, peeps.